Hello everybody, my name is Morgan and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about birth plans or birth preferences. And I just want to start the video by saying that just because a choice is right for me and my family doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the right choice for you and your family. Before we dive into this video, can you do me a huge favor and click that like button? It would mean the world to me, and if you'd like to support our channel, you can even buy me a cup of coffee at the link below. Speaking of coffee, we are beyond excited to share the news that we have partnered with 7 Weeks Coffee. We absolutely love everything that 7 Weeks Coffee stands for. They're not just about great coffee, they're about making a difference. 7 Weeks Coffee is on a mission to fund pregnancy centers across the USA, one cup of coffee at a time. Now you might wonder, why 7 Weeks Coffee? Well, at 7 weeks, a baby is the size of a little tiny coffee bean, and it's also the time that a heartbeat can be detected. 10% of every sale goes directly to supporting pregnancy care centers across the country. So far, they've raised over $750,000 and saved thousands of lives. And because I like to know what I'm putting into my body, here is what makes this coffee even better. They are mold-free, pesticide-free, shade-grown, low-acid, and organically farmed, which is so important to our family. Head to 7weekscoffee.com and use code TIREDMOM10 at checkout for 10% off of every order. We will leave a link in the description. Hello, everybody. My name is Morgan, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about birth plans or birth preferences. I encourage you to do some research and figure out what feels right for you and your new little babe. Let's jump into it. So with birth and labor, there are so many decisions to be made, more than you even realize, more than I realized. Now as a second-time mom, I have a little more experience under my belt. Oftentimes, if you go into your labor and you don't have decisions ready to be made or a plan or preference, decisions are made for you. For example, in my first birth, I didn't even realize that I was given Pitocin to birth my placenta. What? I had no idea until a doctor 2 years later was talking to me about it. So it is best to be well informed and well prepared. With my birth plan, I just went on to Canva and I created a pretty little pink plan. I broke down my plan into sections of early labor, your first stage or active labor, second stage or the pushing stage of labor, and then the third stage, the birth of the placenta / the golden hour. And then I have a couple of little extra things in there as well. So the first thing you want to think about is, where am I giving birth? Is it at home? Is it at a birth center? Is it at a hospital? And regardless of where you're choosing to give birth, you have options, and it's good to be aware of that. So for early labor, oftentimes this is when you're still at home. It's when you're just first starting to feel some of those contractions starting. Is it real labor? Is it not? Is the baby coming today? Very exciting. So this is what I have. I want to be somewhere where I feel at peace and enjoying my surroundings, and the lake does that for me. So that's why I have by the lake. Prep birth space. So for us personally, we are going to be having a home birth, which we are very, very excited about. So I have prep birth space. That'll be like the little last minute details. Maybe for you, if you're going to a hospital or a birth center, that will be make sure that your bag is packed. You have you went through the checklists, and actually have a checklist, I believe, that I can link at the bottom for packing a birth bag. But is your birth bag packed? Is the car seat in the car? Just kind of those little last minute details that you want to get done. The next thing on my list is inform the birth team. So me personally, at least with my last birth, in total from early labor to the baby being in my arms was about 10 hours. So I'm a pretty quick laborer, and my midwives will be coming from 3 hours away. So I'm going to let her know as soon as I start getting more confident that, yep, these are contractions. So I'm going to let my birth team know that likely baby will be coming soon. And then I have bounce on my yoga ball. I just want to stay active and moving, keeping those hips open and moving. Watch something funny get the oxytocin flowing to keep labor progressing. Eat a good meal. That's something that I didn't do with my first. I made these hamburgers and then I started having contractions and I kind of got lost in the excitement of it all, and I didn't eat for 10 hours plus. And yeah, I was quite hungry after I had the little guy. And then last, I had rest. So you don't know when you're going to get your next sleep. So if you're able to rest, I would suggest that. I think in the hospital I got about 20 minutes of sleep total. So yeah, you want to get all the rest that you can while you can. Go on living as normal as best as you can for as long as you can. Next, I have first stage or active labor. And this is when you might be thinking it's time to go to the hospital or the birth center if you are going somewhere. This is when your contractions are becoming more intense and you're having to breathe through them. You're not able to move through your normal day like normal. So for that, I have some of the tools that I want to use when I'm going through that intensity. Those waves are coming. So I have up breathing. That's a breathing technique that we use in hypnobirthing, and that's what I'm planning to do for this birth. For you, it may be something different, but I have up breathing, a TENS unit. So that is a tool to help aid, and I think it's kind of like a mind game. It gives little impulses on your back and can take a little away some of the attention from the tightness in your tummy. I have free to eat and drink, limited cervical checks. If you are in the hospital, they likely are going to ask you where you are at to figure out how dilated in your face you are once you get to the hospital. And they will ask periodically through, and you get to decide if you want those checks and how often you want those checks. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, you have the absolute rights to say, no, thank you. So for me, I said limited cervical checks. I kind of, I trust my body. If I'm curious, if it's going to help me feel better that things are happening, then let's do it. For a lot of people, it can be very hard if you think you're further in labor and then they tell you, oh, you're 3 centimeters. It can make people feel a little defeated. So for that reason, some people also choose not to have many cervical checks. I then have free movement. I want to be able to move my body, walk around the room as much as I can, let gravity aid my body as it's meant to. So with that, you may, if you're going to a hospital, you may request that you don't want to be hooked up to a monitor. You may request that you don't want to be hooked up to IVs or things like that, if that's something that's important to you. If not, then yeah, get the monitor, get the IV. Like I said, it's your preferences. But for me, free movement is important. And then the environment that you're in is important. Just because you're in a hospital or a birth center or whatever, wherever you choose to be, you still have some say over your environment. And I wish I would have known that for my first. We got to the hospital and the lights were on and bright and people were in and people were talking to me. And I think if I would have been able to get into my zone, be in a tranquil environment, that I could have handled the intensity a little bit better. So if you're going to a hospital, feel free to bring things like some little tea lights or things like that. Bring essential oils if you want. Sight, smell, all of your senses really matter during birth. Ask them to dim the lights. Ask for limited interruptions if you are in the hospital at this point. The next thing that I have is using the shower or the bath to help with intensity. Water has proven to be a pain reliever of sorts. For my first birth, I did get in the tub and it just wasn't right for my body. It didn't help, but I wonder if I would have stood in the shower, if it would have been more helpful, because I was having really bad back labor and standing up position was best for me. So know that you have options, know that you can choose that. And then I have monitor baby as much as needed. So with home birth, you're not hooked up to a monitor. They just have like a handheld Doppler. And I just want them to know that if you want to check baby every 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, I don't care. Baby's good, I'm good. So check baby as much as you want. Another thing that I have is natural rupture of the waters. So as of right now, like I said, things change in labor. I don't want any intervention to speed up labor. With that said, I want my water to rupture on its own. And that's just a preference and something that you can decide for yourself. I then have you can put in whether you want your pain meds offered or not. For my first birth, I wanted to do it naturally, but I was getting in my ear often, "Are you sure you don't want this? Are you sure you don't want that? Are you sure?" And then I did end up getting the epidural. So for me, I put no pain meds offered. Now, in my case, I will be at home, so likely that is not going to come up. But if I was transferred to hospital, I do want that in there just in case. Then I had, don't use negative words like pain. In hypnobirthing, you learn that your surrounding, your environment, birth is so mental that it's better to use words like intensity and waves and things like that. So if you think about pain, you probably will be in pain. So I don't want people to talk about pain. But yeah, so you can put in there if you want epidural, if you want IV medications or drugs, and however you prefer to deal with the intensity of labor. So next up is the second stage or the pushing stage of labor. And this is going to be things like, which position do you hope to birth in? Which position do you not want to birth in? How do you want to have coached pushing? Do you want to be in the water? Do you want to be in a bed? Things like that. So for me, I have get in birth pool if desired. And I said that because with my first, being down at all was totally uncomfortable. I wanted to stand. So I want to have the option of a birth pool, but I don't want to feel like if I don't get in that I failed and didn't have the water birth that I was hoping for. So I just have birth pool if desired. Next, I have be in a UFO position. So that's upright, forward, and open. So using gravity to your benefit. Allow body to push as desired. With my first, I really wanted to try to use some of the breathing techniques to breathe baby out. And he came very fast with 4 contractions, I believe it was. So I think I could have really breathed him out, and maybe I wouldn't have tore because I did end up tearing in 2 spots. But the nurse at my side was telling me I was pushing wrong, I needed to bear down, don't breathe, put it off. And I understand that that's probably she sees births a lot, but I don't think I needed to get him out that quick. He came out very fast. And yeah, I think if maybe I would have let him take his time a little bit more, allowed my body to stretch and open a little bit more, maybe I wouldn't have torn. So I said, allow my body to push as desired, how I feel is right. If I feel in that moment that I want to bear down, then that's what I'm going to do. But if not, I don't want somebody to tell me how I have to push, basically. But if for you, this is your first time and you really want someone to help coach you push, then that's perfectly fine. Then I have For me personally, I don't want to birth on my back. And that's just because of anatomy and the research that I've done that it's not the optimal position. It's not upright, forward, and open, as we said. Gravity is not helping us out. The shape, you can look up a video and find what it looks like when you're laying down. It's not optimal for baby to come out. But in some situations, maybe it's an emergency situation, maybe that's what feels right for you in that moment. Again, if that's, we have to be flexible in birth. So next, you could just decide if some options for yourself. If you end up testing positive for group reef strep in your, I think it's around like 36, 37 weeks that they test you. If you come out positive, you are going to be, if you're in hospital and anywhere, offered antibiotics. So at this point, you get to decide whether or not you want those antibiotics. And this is going to be, I think it's every 4 hours throughout your labor that they're going to push those antibiotics. But you have the option to say yes or no. And I would encourage you to go and look at the benefits and negatives of it. Group B strep can be very scary for baby, but antibiotics can also do some pretty big damage on their microbe that aids them throughout their life. So something to think about and look into. Do you want the antibiotics or not? And that's something that I would put in that area of your birth plan. Then I also have no episiotomy. You can put things like episiotomy, forceps, vacuum. Those are all things that you want to put in your second stage. The third stage of labor. So this is babe comes out and now you're in your third stage. Things that you should put on your birth plan for third stage are what you want for the umbilical cord. Do you want them to clamp it right away? Do you want it to wait till it stops pulsating? Do you want it to turn white? Do you want a lotus birth where the placenta comes out of mom before it's clamped and cut? Who do you want to cut the cord? Do you want to cut the cord yourself? Does dad want to cut the cord? Does grandma or sister? So that's something to put in there. And then we have immediate skin to skin. Put baby on my test right away. And let's get this little guy breastfeeding and next to mom as soon as possible. So that I also have breastfeed as soon as possible. And then you can put things in there like leave the vernix. So sometimes babies come out and they still have some of that like cheesy coating on their skin. And I found through research that it can be very beneficial for hydration purposes of their sensitive little skin. So for me, I want you to leave the vernix. Maybe you would prefer them wipe off right away. Then I have the golden hour. So baby is with mom and dad for an hour. Don't take them. Leave us be. Leave us in our little bubble. And then also in the third stage, you want to think about how you want to birth your placenta. This was something that honestly, I have zero recollection of my placenta being birthed, and that was only 2 years ago. I had nothing. Apparently, I received the Pitocin to contract. I'm not honestly 100% sure everything the Pitocin does, but it is supposed to help fight against hemorrhage and birth your placenta. So I got the Pitocin with my first. This time I have decided that I want a physiological birth of my placenta. So I want my body to birth the placenta on its own. And if for some reason I do have excess bleeding, then we'll deal with it as that happens. That's one reason why I want baby on me right away. I want them to breastfeed right away just to keep that oxytocin super high so my placenta is able to birth naturally. Some other choices that you have for the third stage of labor for baby is the vitamin K shot, which they promote for blood clotting, hepatitis B shot, eye ointment, a bath. I don't think they do that right away, but and Pitocin for mom, which Arte just discussed. So you get to decide are those choices that you want to make? Do you want vitamin K? Do you want hepatitis B? And do you want eye ointment for baby? And they do that very quickly. So you need to be prepared with those choices. So next in my birth plan, I made kind of an extensive birth plan because I wanted to give my birth partner, my husband, and possibly my sister, my mom, whoever I plan to have with me at the birth, I wanted to give them some tools to help me out. Because when you are in this situation, everything you've learned and planned for you forget everything with the craziness and the excitement and the adrenaline that you have going. So I wanted to have notes for them ready to go where they don't even have to think about it, and I do not have to think about it. So the next section that I have in my birth plan is tools that I want to use for labor. And these tools include essential oils, shower, bath, birth pool, counter pressure, which is where someone pushes on your hips during a contraction, the tens unit birth ball, alternating positions and movement, birth combs. So a tool during labor that some people use is they hold onto combs, just like a hair comb, and it gives like acupressure, and it can help transfer some of the intensity. Breath, so help me breathe, count for me, remind me to breathe. Positive affirmation, light touch massage, music, and if labor is slowing down, I need some oxytocin, nipple stimulation, and you can do this through breast pumps. Next, in my birth preferences little helpful tool guide, I have helpful reminders. When I'm in labor, these are things that my birth team can help remind me of, and this is I have relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Suggest a different UFO position as needed. Drink water and empty bladder. Read me positive affirmations. Tell me how great I am doing. Give counter pressure during surges. Give light touch massage. And then I have some examples of UFO positions. So I'm sure you can't see them, but we will attach the birth plan and you can take a look at some of those pictures. And it's just little cartoons in different positions for birth. And then I have a little section that is for an addition if I am transferred to the hospital. I have same preferences as above. Everything above still applies. And if constant monitoring is necessary, still be able to stay mobile. So ask if they have a device that can move with me rather than having to be hooked up to the bed, basically. Discharge as soon as possible. The worst part of giving birth is staying in the hospital, and I stand by that. Limited room interruptions. For the same reason. I don't want people in and out of my room constantly. No circumcision for babe or circumcision for babe, if that is a choice that's a choice you have to make if you're having a boy. So if mom needs assistance after birth, so if I'm unable to have the golden hour because I need more assistance, I want baby to do skin to skin with dad and feed pumped colostrum to baby if I can't breastfeed. Another thing, if you are planning a cesarean or you're not planning a cesarean but you want to be prepared, you can put in there that you want a gentle cesarean. So even though you're in surgery, you still want baby on your chest as soon as possible. You want to be able, dad to still be able to cut the cord and yeah, things like that. Keep it as gentle and natural as a cesarean could be. And then at the very end, I have written out some positive affirmations that my birth partners can write to me. So I'll just name a few of them. You guys can get the idea. Your body is doing its job. Your baby will arrive at the perfect time. Each wave brings you closer to meeting your baby. And that is just, like I said, for my birth partners to read to me if I want them read. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys are interested in a more natural, crunchy, if you will, birth plan, you can find that at the link down at the bottom. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned with all of our upcoming content. Thank you.